certain official the other day alisimama na akaongea vile anataka. That's all. That's the message. Kuna tu mtu mahali alikaa tu akaongea vibaya, and he's still currently trending. So if you kind of know the story that I'm trying to tell you without telling you, wewe cheza tu ka wewe. Another news, sijui kama mnajua Liverpool tuliwashinda 1-2. That's neither here nor there, but good morning. My name is Valentine, or at Color Me Val, and you're watching Why in the Morning. It's a Wednesday, a good one at that. No, kama tunapatia ka energy fulani. So how many take-homes do we have today? Quite a number. Number one, kuna story ya 3 days relationship na ngoja sana kusikia. Number two, Lizzie alikuwa ametupatia mawaidha ingine smart. I think I'll remember before the show ends, okay? Yes. So far, I hope you've taken something and not holding water in basket ile na nini. But anyway, hashtag Sun Morning, Y254 and everything, FB et al. Na tunajibamba. So without further ado, this is the last segment of the show. But you know we save the best for last. So I'll let this gentleman, Dapper as he looks, to introduce himself before we get into the meat of the team. Good morning.
Good morning.
You've just been agreeing with me. Why are you agreeing with me? Good morning. How are you?
I'm good.
Yeah, you look good. You look happy. You have what we call black boy joy. Are you happy today? Yeah. Yes? Yeah. On a scale of 1 to 10, how healthy, quote unquote, do you think you are in terms of your mental health?
Mentally today, I think I'm at 7.
Yeah? That's good. That's good. We clap. What happens when you are not at a very strong number? What do you do?
When I'm not at a very strong point, what I do, I take a break, detach from everything, get my mind together, then get back.
Okay. Yeah. I like that. Do you cry? Do men cry?
Men do cry, but most of them, they do it in secret. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, ukipigwa kama Arsenali, unaenda tu unalia kwa bafu. Unaenda unapiga tu one time.
Yeah.
Ndio hata wewe mwenyewe usijiambie umelia.
Yeah.
Is that toxic masculinity ama mko tu sawa?
I feel it's okay.
You feel mko sawa?
It's okay.
Okay, Benjana, you know, ukipigwa heartbreak, uende tu kwa bafu, just very normal, nonchalant, uende upige moja safi, you will not also know that you cried. Solved all the problems you could possibly have. All right, now we've been having a couple of conversations before we get into ours. So let me start with this, because I want to read a couple of comments. Okay. Is manifestation real ama ni uongo? No, hizi stories za ajabu ku manifest.
Manifestation is actually real. Why
do you say so?
I say so because recently, I feel actually I came to this shot sort of the right time. I've been listening to the first shot, the first segment that you're having, talking about manifestation, and that is actually what I've been tuning into lately on my TikTok.
Okay.
Yeah, so I feel like manifestation is actually real. And I would pair that to what we have, something close to it, we have what we call the abundance mindset. It's something that has just hit me recently.
Okay.
Yeah, for example, like talking about the abundance mindset, in our nature as human beings, we have been trained that we have to compete for stuff, we have to compete for resources, all through high school, through primary, the competitions and everything. But come to think of it, we have one sun. The person is in Australia sees that sun. The person in Kenya sees that sun. So what that means is that first thing, when it comes to that manifestation, you have to understand that there are numerous opportunities and resources for everyone.
I like that.
You don't have to compete for everything. What you have to do is get aligned.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, amenijibu. I want to ask further questions, but that's not why we're here. I can some comments kiasi, alafu then we dive into the rest of the thingy. Davisky, the uko, reality is in the mind. All you see are here because of you. Without all these things, there's no you. Wanataka kuniambia story na universe, but I kind of get it. Monet Koi says, ukweli, I'm Cynthia from Campbell. Love you. Oh, love you too, Cynthia. Gilbert Gitachu says tuned. Linus ndo alitupatia. Nick Msani says I'm watching Y254 channel from Siaya. Hello from Nairobi. Good morning. Peter Mwange, I see you. Abu Jesh, I see you. Kinar Tabril says kijana ya West Side. Tabril, vitu ni real. Hapa hatupigangi vitu mboi. Wow. Bet KE says it's real, it's mind power, energy alignment, and conscious creation. Moses Juma says kijana fupi nono round. Kakamega Kakoi my lover ndani. ako inside. So venye amejita mtoto fupi, kijana fupi nono around, I mean manifest. That is serious manifestation going on. All right, and then we had a conversation about charm and manipulation. Do you think there's a difference between being charming and being manipulative?
I think there's a thin line between manipulation and charm.
It's like you've been waiting for me to ask these questions. Look at how ready he is to answer.
I think there's a thin line between manipulation and charm.
Okay.
From my understanding, manipulation is getting somebody to do something that you want unconsciously without them realizing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is manipulation. And in most cases, it doesn't need somebody's permission. You have them do it unconsciously. There's what you call dark psychology, something like that.
I knew it. Turudi na Lizzy, I knew it. You see, this is what I was trying to say.
Yeah. So you just get them to do something unconsciously without them realizing. That is manipulation. And in most cases, what they're going to do serves your best interests. It's your interest that you want, but you make it happen in a way that is not obvious. Yeah.
So you could be very deeply manipulated, but you have no idea.
Exactly.
No clue.
Yeah.
Well, unaona tu unaendelea tu na maisha yako.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay, that's kind of crazy and scary all at the same time. But thank you for that small revelation. Okay, now to our question of the hour. Socialites who show up kwa events ni out of goodwill ama ni cloud chasing. So the question is, socialites who show up kwa events ni out of goodwill ama ni cloud chasing. Now, I want to believe, okay, let me put a couple of... He is so ready for me. He is so ready for the question. It's fascinating me. Let's start with a case study that's been making headlines in the recent past. So we have Kaluma Boy. He had... it's an ongoing situation. So he has mzazi ndo hayuko poa and ni babake na kuna mama mzazi, but he's been taking it upon himself to, you know, just try to make ends meet, basically just being a decent child, you know, to the parent. So now there was overwhelming help from a particular platform, the one that sana you won't get in TikTok. Yes, no. So the people who showed up, are they showing up because ukijana amekuwa akiongea sana, oh help me, help me, help me, I want to be the first one to be seen, I'm helping you, ni mimi? Or are you doing it because humanity is not dead, in fact?
I think to answer that, I would first narrow down to two things: context and intention. The first part about intention, we have people who are genuinely good outside here. Somebody who sees this story, gets emotional or gets touched by it and says, you know what, I have extra cash, I have this, I'll help out. And in most cases, these are people who have been in such similar situations. So for them to go out there and reach out and help, it's not really a big deal. The other aspect in terms of context. Now, for example, right now we're talking about social media. The digital space is getting vast in terms of influencing people and everything. Now, the other aspect would also be clout chasing. Because, for example, you talk about, let me say, socialites, but that is also very relative. It's not to generalize everything. When you talk about socialites, for example, that those who do it because, one, they want that public appearance, because that is what they thrive on. They thrive on that public appearance, publicity, all that. So for some people like that, socialites, for example, but not to generalize, for somebody like that, would see that as an opportunity. Why? Because they want to go public, they want to be seen associated with such, because that is what gives them brand visibility and all that. So I feel like it's very relative. It narrows down to the intent, the context. Yeah.
Okay, that was so well articulated. I like it. All right. Okay, before I get into the next question and then we introduce our second panelist, let me just remind you where you can find us. That is at Y54 on Facebook, Y54 channel on X, hashtag of the day, or the more generic hashtag is One in the Morning, the day one of the day one is Empowerment Cafe. And I think my voice is trying to do a disappearing act, so let's see if we can rein it in for a couple of more minutes, because we are heading to the tail end part of the show. Is Maliza. But remember, we are asking, conversation is driven toward finding out, do socialites, and who is a socialite? Do socialites do these things for clout, or are they actually showing up? Yeah. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning.
You look very lovely. What's your good name?
My name is Imani, Liz.
Hi, Imani. Would you prefer I call you Imani or Liz?
Whatever you'd like.
I like Imani.
You like
All
Imani?
Right. How can we find you on social media?
I'm Orams Imani on Instagram, and I think I only exist in Instagram as of now.
Oh, really?
Yes, I was in X, but we all know the pressures of X.
Yeah, but the pressures of Instagram, they're not for the weak.
Yeah.
So you, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, you're a connoisseur.
Yeah.
Also the connoisseurs of Instagram. Okay, so what is a social? Who is a socialite? And is influencer a word that we've used to substitute what a socialite is, or are these two different entities?
I think they're different because influencer is something we've attached with a profit incentive.
Okay.
So I think when we talk about an influencer, this is someone who's genuinely gotten into fame to earn. I think most of the time when you refer to an influencer, this is like a job sort of in modernity. So when we talk about socialites, they probably just stumbled onto fame. They just stumbled onto like fame because of the attention they're receiving, because of something that they're doing online and people are liking. So most of the times, at least in modernity, we can say socialites end up being influencers, but influencers didn't start on being socialites.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So he said something about, or you said something about the online space. Yeah, I think it's you. It's become very vast. So you really can't ignore it, avoid it in any way.
Yeah.
But does showing up in this particular platform that is social media, is it clout, or are we actually trying to help? Okay, nikiingiza, and this is across the board for both of you. Nikiingiza dini, Christianity, the one I'm more familiar with, says make sure the left hand does not know what the right hand is doing. Okay. But then we have evolved, and now in cases of charity, we want accountability. So tukiitisha picha za children's home, it's because possibly we've had stories where this money has been taken elsewhere. So we just want someone to be accountable, right? But when does it just ni kama event, ni ka red carpet. So right now, if you have an issue and we rally up a bunch of us on TikTok, on Instagram, on FB, put them all together. But my issue ni unipige picha nionekane niko hapo. So how can we tell intent? How can we really tell intent? Why are you looking at her? Let me start with you.
Okay, I'll go first. Now, when it comes to intent, I feel like we all have our own moral guides or our own moral compasses, for example. Now, for example, let me say for somebody like me, for example, if I know that I'm going to help you genuinely, I don't need to go out there, take a photo and say, oh, I showed up, I helped you. But now, that is where the intent comes in, the moral compass. You as a person, what do you value? If you're going to help somebody, do you have to go out there and broadcast to the world that I helped you? Or do you have to do it the way you've mentioned that the right hand should not know what the left hand has done? Or are you going to just do it even if the person or the recipient appreciates you and you move on with it, like it's okay? I think that is what makes the difference. Now, back to your question on the digital space, for example. Now, there's this popular quote that where purpose is not known, abuse is inevitable.
Wow.
For example, if we have the digital space, we have two options. We either use it objectively and earn from it. She has mentioned about influencers. If you're going to use it objectively, then you're going to benefit from it. But now if you're going to use it less objectively or without objective, for example, for clout chasing, we're the very people who are going to suffer from it. Because you realize that the internet never forgets. I'll show up today and say, I helped this person. Now let me say, for example, 2 or 3 months down the line, something happens that makes us advertise. Then I'm the same person going out to media, I'm saying, oh, I helped him because of so-and-so, I helped him because, no, I was only just being nice. You see, it will be coming back to haunt me. That was me 3 months ago saying, no, I'm helping this person out of goodwill. 3 months later, this is me now because something happened that caused us to advertise. Now I'm again showing up. I helped him, no, because I was just being nice. No, he's not a good person. So I feel like when it comes to intent, that is also a question of moral standards. You as a person, what do you value? Or what speaks to you as an individual? Because you realize that we view the world differently.
Very.
Yeah, and you have to accept that the way I view the world is not the way you view the world. It's not the way she views the world. What is important to her, it's not to me, and maybe not to you. So I feel it's a question of the moral compass and largely about purpose. Why are you doing it? Yeah.
Why are we here? Okay, do you have anything to take or add on
I
to
think
what he said before?
when it comes to like basically the very conversation in itself and whether the social light is helping people or doing it for clout, I think my hot take is they could be doing it for both, right? Because at the end of the day, how do I get my bread as a social media person? It's by content engagement. And all these things I do, whether or not the camera is there, heavily depends on whether or not I'm getting paid, right? So at the end of the day, maybe I genuinely do want to help this, school or orphanage or whatever. I genuinely want to give back, but I'm recording it because this is how I get paid.
Rent is due.
Rent is due. Rent is due, you know? So at the end of the day, killing two birds with one stone. My heart is pure. I genuinely want to help them, right? But at the end of the day, right, this is my work. So it's like, yeah, I guess if you want to help people genuinely, you don't want people to see it. But at the end of the day, who are we talking about? This is a socialite. This is how they get paid. So, yeah, that's my opinion.
Actually, on that same note, there's something, okay, for me, I find it, imeanza kupigana na mosquito. Si njaa, si mosquito, admin! Anyway, so I found it very interesting that Oga Obinna had like a press release, like a suspension of any acts of kindness. And I'm thinking, this gentleman is under the limelight. I think it's voluntary because this is a life you choose. If you keep putting yourself out there, that's a life. Maybe it chose you, but you keep choosing it. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. This is the life that he chose. But now he's a brand. He stopped operating as a person, as a man, as a father, as a potential husband. I don't know. But he's operating as a brand. So he's helped XYZ, and if XYZ have misfortune in the future, for some reason we always come back to Oga Obinna and say, hata niwe uliwasaidia, ama uliwasaidia ukiwapea swara. I was like, how does that work exactly? Because I imagine he's an influencer. I don't know if he's an influencer or a socialite. Mwanaume anaweza kuwa socialite, ebu mnisaidie. But he has a very unique position in his brand placement. So how can we tell if it's clout with him or not?
I think for him, now him as a person, as Oga Obinna as a person, it's tenda mema nenda zako. Regardless of how this person's future goes or does not go, that's none of your responsibility as long as you did what you wanted to do and you generally did it at the beats of your heart, right? Now, in the public eye and the public scrutiny, I think it's also, I don't know if he has like an advisor on the side, because when you go to online and say things like, I'm not gonna do any acts of kindness, yeah, that's going to cause some sort of uproar. And I don't think he should blame people for thinking you've been a fake all this time when this is the type of like information it is playing out there. So now, the way you said he's a brand and he's an entity in itself, he needs to know how to package that and also like, produce that. That's what I was asking. I don't know if he has an advisor, because by the time you have like 1.2 million followers, anything you post on your story is going to be taken as like the word of day. So like maybe he is being a genuine person, tenda mema nenda zako, but like, he's producing this information that's making us be like, okay.
Maybe perhaps.
Yeah, so under public scrutiny, it's very valid to think that he was doing all this for clout. It's very valid because we're dealing with the information we have, right? He did good. He didn't get a positive outcome. He's having an outburst. That's just to say he did good because he wanted like a certain reaction from him. So yeah.
Okay, all right. So I want to put it all together and drive this home, and it's a bit sensitive, so I'm trying to be as diplomatic as possible. So yes, we started talking about Kaluma Boy, who's the most recent. So this is someone who came out and said they needed help. Actually, I don't even think he asked for the help. He just documented his process for like a year or so. Then hapo ndio watu wakajua. I don't know who the first person was upigiwe makofi mahali huko, who started the wave, and then they helped him out. But what happens when let me atani kae na Ogajo pia amejipata. In fact, this is why he released that statement for no more acts of kindness, because of the passing of the artist Shalkido. Apparently sasa hapo Oga Obinna ndio alikuwa wa mwisho sijui kumuona ama kumfuelia bike, or rather I don't know. Alafu akapata ajali na hivyo ndo alitransition. So now we are coming. Now the past couple of days have been quite heavy for us as a nation. We've lost a very large figure who has left very large shoes to fill. But again, because we are people, we are mourning different. People mourn differently. That includes celebrities. So again, Oga amekuja akanyoa nywele, kuna watu wengine amefanya various other things. Is this clout or is this genuine? And other things that you just not play with, bana. This is not something that we should not be having a meeting wondering if you're doing this out of the goodness of your heart, or there's just some places, some things you just don't, yeah? Or do you agree or not?
Okay, now I feel like...
He's just such a happy person, isn't he? Okay,
He is.
Thank
He
you.
is.
Now, I feel like when it comes to brand visibility, we're talking about influencers, we're talking about socialites. When there's no visibility, there's nothing. She mentioned about having to pay bills. Much as, yes, you can have a good heart, you still have to pay bills at the end of the day. And this thrives on visibility. Now, I feel like when it comes to that, for example, in consideration of where we are as a country right now, I feel like, one, it can be clout, and second, it can be strategic positioning. It can be very strategic, because for an influencer, for a socialite, anything that will get me out there, anything that will get people talking about me, that is what I want.
Okay, so there's no good or bad PR.
Now,
PR
that is where the second part comes in. At the end of the day, after I've gone out there, people are talking about me, whether it's a photo I took, whether it's a video I recorded, whether it's a comment I posted somewhere. That is where the second part's coming at the end of the day. When people will come to realize that this one was all about profanity and vanity, nothing genuine, no credibility inside it, that is where now you go down. Because people will realize this person was just chasing clout. There was nothing genuine inside this, no credibility. So I feel like it can be strategic positioning or something very strategic to them, firstly as a brand, and secondly to get people talking about them for visibility purposes, because you realize that in the digital space, visibility is everything, because attention is currency. Now, the second part on the credibility, I feel that is where we should have to get it right. As an influencer, as a socialite, it's okay to want to have to be talked about, to have to be visible everywhere. People are talking about you on TikTok, Instagram, to be trending. But now the second part of credibility, that is very key.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, therein lies the difference. Let me just spill everything, including this last question. I'm hoping it is the last one. I clearly have very many questions there. This digital space, there's no room for ethics, you know. We're not going to have once you have a smartphone that can take a pretty decent picture or video, and you have bandwidth to upload it to the internet, it's a wrap. You have now become, nimesikia tu akifanya citizen arrest, so I guess that's a citizen breaking news or story or whatever. My point is, information is so ready to be disseminated. Verification time is first of all kidogo, because the rate at which I will repost or reshare something has not given me ample time to verify whether it's right or not. But point ni, there are no rules in this digital space. Naweza enda niseme mtu ame transition, they've passed on, and use very crass language and tailor the story the way I want it to be read, you know. So is there a danger in that? To comment, ni comment, article, ni article. There's no teacher, there's no actual virtual policing of it. So, hapo ni clout.
I think there's you asked if it's dangerous. I think it's very dangerous. I think it's one of the prices we have to pay for the dangers of humanity. Like, I think this is why even we have the AI conversation, right? We have, just things show up. And recently, Viola Davis posted that Wangari Maathai, it's like breaking news, and she posted it. And if it wasn't for...
That's where it came from.
Yeah, she posted breaking news, Wangari Maathai, first, Kenyan woman to do ABCD. And Kenyans, if it wasn't for us Kenyans and how active we are online, and keeping her in check and be like, woman, this lady died long time ago, that she did this. US citizens would actually believe that this is breaking news, that Wangari died in 2025. So I think now this is where we even question like the democracy we have in the online space, right? This is actually where we have democracy. Like, this is where we have now our social politics, right? Because now we're the only ones keeping each other in check. There's no leader, there is no governor, there is no MP to blame in the social space and be like, you didn't tell us this information was right. No, it's us. So I think now this is where we're the ones to keep each other like in check, like, no, this is not. But I think it's going to get harder with time. So if we do not use all these already existing technology and equipment to have like verification check-ins and all these things, then I think in less than a decade, almost every single news that we're going to be receiving is going to be spewing into each other. And even with the rise of influencers are as young as 9 years old nowadays.
Yes.
It's going to get very messy very fast.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was reading or watching something that said this is Alpha. I think they're going to be the first generation to have very young millionaires.
Yeah.
Many very
Yeah.
young millionaires.
Yeah.
Hey, jamani.
Yeah.
Ama nilizaliwa. I don't need to lay, guys. The hashtag is Y in the morning. Okay, so I feel like we've run out of time. So maybe your closing remarks. I'll start with you. How would you like to address the idea that possibly being a socialite can be a bad thing? You know, there's some people who just have opinions, yeah? What if someone says, hey, socialite, kwanza hiyo ni miadarati, mnafanya sijui nini, mna tap usiku, mnaenda live, nini hizo mnafanya. So how would you open someone's mind? Yes, let me just full stop it there.
Okay. Now talking about how to open up somebody's mind. Now, for example, we're talking about socialites, we're talking about influencers. Much as we are focused on the digital space, I want us to realize that even me as an individual, I can be an influencer without having to go on TikTok and all that. I can still be an influencer. The fact that I can have somebody follow a path or influence somebody to take a certain decision, that means I can be an influencer. I can influence them. So what I would say, it narrows down to objectivity and intention. At the end of the day, after you've posted that video, after you've said what you've said, at the end of the day, are you going to be haunted by what you said or what you posted 3 months ago, 2 weeks ago? And then you'll realize that when you have nothing to hide at the expense of the camera, when you're credible, you have nothing but pride. Yeah.
Oh, wow. In a sentence, you think clout is a bad thing? Is clout really bad?
I'm not sure if I'm the one who should be answering this, but I don't think clout is a bad thing.
Yeah,
I don't.
We demonize it, not even weaponize
Yeah,
it. We demonize
there's
it,
a
but
lot
is
of
it a
things.
bad thing?
There's a lot of things we villainize in our society, and it's often villainized by the people profiting from it. That's a whole different philosophy you can get into. So I just think that because of how defunctioned our homes are, like it's a whole different whatever. How we've grown up really shows up in, you know, how we've grown up shows up in the characters that we assimilate when we're older. So I think a lot of people, and this is gonna touch many, a lot of people have lacked attention growing up. So fame and clout does become harmful in that you're looking for that space you never had. This is where charity begins at home is a very powerful statement, almost everything, right? Because you didn't have that from parents, friends, family, whatever it is. Growing up in such an attention-deprived state, fame becomes something you really need to watch out for.
Can we please start next week from there? Because, that's profound. That's profound. Thank you both for coming. I really enjoyed this conversation. Please, Mr. Man, admin, please kubali tufanye part 2. Yes, we don't even have to have the same conversation. We can find something else to talk about. I'm sure they'll be ready. Yes, okay. Thank you for staying with us. And us is myself, Valentine, and of course, Lazy. Akini lisema by today nitakumbuka nini. I think it's Lazy Kimani. On I promise I remember this. Najua Instagram na Facebook ni Lazy Kimani. Yeah, TikTok ndo bado sitakumbuka, but it's okay. Hashtag remains to be right in the morning. Today has been Empowerment Cafe. Yeah, thank you so very much for allowing us into your homes and spaces. It's Siraise, but we enjoy spending time with you. Thank you for interacting with us on our socials. And I just want to release you to the day. But do not leave channel Y254. I think we have a repeat for The Bounce late in a few minutes, not even later, in a few minutes, so you don't want to miss that. Okay, until tomorrow, where we start your weekend on a weekday. Miniko Friday, but kesho ni Thursday. All right, but I'm on a Tuesday vibe. Anyway, we're in the morning. Bye-bye. That is all. Wait, guys, slow it.